Yo, Gentleman's Game here, back for the first video of 2021. Last year was a strange one for all of us, I'm sure, and if there's one thing I learned from 2020, it's that things can change fast. There's a quote somewhere that says, "There are decades where nothing happens, and then there are weeks where decades happen." Meaning if you don't spend your time effectively, decades can go by where nothing improves. But if you have the right vision, the right strategy, and the right attitude, you can have weeks where you have decades worth of growth. And the best time to have this realization is while you're still young, so you have more time to benefit from self-improvement. See, according to my YouTube analytics, the majority of you guys watching are under the age of 30. So when I take that and the fact that you guys want to improve your game and your dating life, I can conclude that a lot of you would benefit from some tailor-made advice to you youngins. So today I wanted to make a video directly addressing some of the things I wish someone told me about dating when I was in my teens and early 20s. More specifically, we're going to hone in on 3 specific pieces of advice that, if you actually implement within your own life, I think will give you a more balanced and practical view of how you should navigate the tricky terrain that is dating in your 20s. This will set you up for success not only in your 20s, but your 30s and 40s afterwards as well. So let's jump right into it. The first secret to dating in your 20s is walking the tightrope. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, the dating game when you're really young, in a lot of ways, is like a balancing act. See, most guys I meet by the time they're 30 will fall into either one of these 3 buckets. The first is the serial monogamist, meaning he just jumps into serious relationship after serious relationship. He falls in love easily, and when he does, he just goes for it and actually pulls off long-term relationships without too much difficulty. Now, the second bucket guys fall under is the fuckboy. These are basically players, the guys who spent their 20s playing the field, having casual relationships, and having one-night stands over being in serious relationships. These guys have lots of experience picking up women, but not necessarily in maintaining a good relationship. And then typically there's the third bucket, which is the person who's just generally inexperienced, even at 30. These guys in the third category struggle with women throughout their whole lives and never really took the necessary action to improve. Now, of these 3 buckets, you obviously wouldn't want to be in the third one. However, the first 2 buckets, the serial monogamist and the playboy, is what I'm referring to when I say walk the tightrope. You see, guys in the first bucket who spend their whole teens and 20s only in a small number of long-term relationships, they have some advantages that'll serve them well into their 30s and beyond. They understand the journey into a woman's soul. See, being in a long-term relationship gives you a clarity about what makes women tick, about how to keep them around if you want them to. When you get to that level of a connection with a girl, it teaches you a lot of lessons about patience, humility, and empathy. In other words, guys in bucket A have experienced depth when it comes to dating. They fell in and out of love, and they know the process of getting to understand a girl, her emotional framework, her quirks, and then eventually winning her heart over. It's a very powerful skill to have, to understand the process of winning a woman's heart like that. Now, on the other hand, the fuckboy, the guy who spent his early adult years mostly hooking up with different women, getting in and out of casual relationships, has another set of skills. He might not know how to maintain attraction over long periods of time and have healthy, mature relationships. But because he spent so much time at the bars or going out and meeting people, he developed effective social skills. He learned how to seduce women in the heat of the moment, how to approach her and take her home, even though it might not lead to a full relationship. In other words, the guy in the second bucket has breadth as opposed to depth. And that is exactly the tightrope that you have to walk when you're in your 20s. See, when you only focus on depth, when you're only wanting to jump into the next serious relationship without getting a chance to enjoy being single, then you don't really get to learn who you are. You build so much of your identity around having a partner that you don't really know how to thrive at being alone. And then on the other end of the spectrum, when you focus only on breadth, you might get real good at picking up girls in a casual sense, but you don't really learn how to communicate or understand women on a deep level. You know how to sound cute and cocky in a way that attracts women, but you don't have the emotional toolkit to keep a woman around. That's why it's so important to balance between the two when you're in your 20s. You should go out and learn the basic social skills in terms of how to flirt with a cute girl. But eventually, you do want relationship experience, since it gives you a level of maturity that helps you better navigate dating later on in your life. Now again, that's not to say you should stay in a relationship if you feel it's not serving you a purpose, or else you're just wasting your time. When you know your time with the girl has run its course, it's important to move on, get back out there, and refine your skill set of meeting and attracting other women. Walking this tightrope of depth and breadth is like yin and yang. You want to experiment with both in order to get a more holistic perspective. Now, the second secret you need to know about dating in your 20s is building your portfolio of reference experiences. Now, what is a reference experience? Well, it's basically any time you learn something based on first-hand life lessons. For example, if you were to get caught stealing a candy bar from a store as a little kid, you'd have that as a reference experience, and you'd think twice the next time you want to shoplift something that didn't belong to you. They say that smart people learn from their mistakes, but smarter people learn from the mistakes of other people. And to a degree that is true, but nothing comes close to personal first-hand experience. When life puts you in precarious situations, you're forced to learn and adapt. This is how humans evolve, and it's how you personally evolve as a man. Let's say you were to try flirting with a couple cute girls you meet at a social event somewhere, and for the most part you got rejected brutally. But then, at the final 20 minutes of the event, one of the girls you already talked to actually comes up to you with her friend and introduces you two. Things end up escalating quick, and before you know it, you two are kissing, and she's asking for your Instagram to keep connected. In this situation, you would have had a huge reference experience, which is that you should never get discouraged at any social gathering, no matter how many rejections you get, because all it takes is one good interaction to make your night a success. So the next time you're in a situation where you're having a bad night or you're feeling anxious and awkward, you'll know to not let it get to you, because you have a reference experience to draw from, of a time where you were feeling the same way, yet still managed to make it work for you. And again, this is just one specific example. The more reference experiences you gain, the more you push yourself out of your comfort zone and have these crazy experiences, the more you'll develop true wisdom when it comes to social interactions. This is why men tend to get smoother and more confident the older they become, because their experiences gives them a certainty, right? The more you play the game, the better you'll naturally get. So go out there and build a massive well of personal reference experiences, especially in your 20s, so that you'll have your 30s and beyond to reap the benefits. The third and final secret to dating in your 20s is to find out the type of girl you're actually compatible with. So when I was younger, my list of ideal qualities in a girl was pretty simple. She needed to be hot, she needed to be into the same music as me so we could go to parties and raves together, and she needed to know how to dance since girls who could dance drove me crazy. And then one day I actually met and started dating a girl who met all of these attributes. I was on cloud 9, completely enamored with this girl in the beginning of our relationship. And then, a couple months later, when we eventually parted ways, I learned that those list of ideal qualities I had earlier in my mind wasn't what I really wanted. It was what I thought I wanted. I realized that what I actually wanted in a girl was just someone who I thought was cute and was down to do spontaneous, silly things with me, someone I could go on adventures with, someone who could laugh at my dark sense of humor. And the thing is, this is most people. Until you have the adequate amount of dating experience, you won't really know what type of girl is most compatible with you. You think you'll know, and spend all your time filtering for those traits that aren't even good for you in the long run, and then potentially end up in an unsatisfying relationship. That's why it's so important to really get a sense of what qualities in a girl are most suitable for you when you're still young, in your 20s. You don't want to end up that guy who doesn't gain any dating experience in your 20s, and then in your 30s you fall in love with the woman, propose to her, and then 6 months into your marriage realize you've made a huge, potentially financially costly mistake. And honestly, the only way to learn what type of girl you're really compatible with is through trial and error. As you grow into yourself, you'll learn who you are and you'll know what you're looking for. So that's it for the video, guys, and to summarize, today we talked about 3 secrets to navigating the dating field in your 20s, which is number 1, walking the tightrope between serious relationships and casual flirting, number 2, building reference experiences, and number 3, learning what qualities in a girl are good for you in the long term. If you enjoyed the video, guys, drop a like and hit the subscribe button. As always, if you want my free 5-page PDF on the fundamentals of attraction or want to follow me on IG, find the link in the description box below. Peace.